Okay, folks. Awesome. I just want to give an opportunity to all the newly elected to say a few words. I will, after those folks go, I'll lay out my plan or my vision of what I see happening over the next 6 months. And I promise I'll be on your way soon. I'm not quite Jack Morris, and I'm not quite Jack Morris. I think you'll find me somewhere. They love you, Jack. They love you. Let me first bring up our treasurer, Sharon Tucker. If she'd like to say a few words and address the body. Have your words.
We don't know you.
Imagine that, Sharon Tucker with nothing to say. I do want to thank everybody that came out to help support and to cast a vote. One of the things that I know for sure is that the treasurer role in any organization is a very important role and one that we should not take lightly. And because of that, I am going to do everything that I can to make sure that I help raise funds for the party, to help make sure that we manage money safely and soundly, and to make sure that we continue to give out the reports to the Central Committee about where we are financially. And I am so glad and so honored that that there is a person that wants to go alongside of me and be mentored throughout the process so that she can, at one point in time in the future, take that over. And that's Jessica Galindo. So what we do understand is the importance of making sure that we are good stewards. The Bible calls for us to be good stewards over the money that's given to us. And anybody that knows me knows I'm like a dog with a bone when it comes to raising money and when it comes to make sure that we spend the money properly. And I promise and pledge to do that going forward and helping Jessica be prepared to take my fill my shoes, which are small. So we'll do good for you guys. Again, thank you for your support and vote.
Misty. Would you like to say a few words?
Yay, Misty!
Hi, my name is Misty Meehan. I'm the new secretary, and I'm just excited to be working with everybody and very, very glad to be given the opportunity, and I thank you very much.
Thad Jordo, would you step forward to say a few words?
I'll be quick, but I just wanted to say thank you to especially Jack for his leadership over the past 2 years, John Ford before that, all the precinct chairs and committee people who voted on me today. I just appreciate all the work that you've done for the party, and thank you very much. When I think about how I got here today, I actually walked through the doors of this building about 4.5 years ago. I was in my mid-20s. I didn't really know where I was politically, where my home was. I just wanted things to change. And a friend said, there's a good opportunity to meet a lot of people in the party. And so I showed up. I didn't know anyone. And the first person who approached me was Mindy Rogers. And she gave me a clipboard and she says, sign up for volunteering. Since then, it's been a great ride. I've done organizing with Mindy. I ran for office in 2014, and I'm just very excited at the opportunity to replicate what happened. So thank you very much.
I am very excited about our team, and I think we're going to do some great things together. Before I dive into what I have some prepared notes here, I first of all want to thank the bricklayers for always allowing us to invade their space here and allow us to hold our meetings here on a regular basis. So thank you, bricklayers. Being here another 4 years. Let me also also thank Thad and the rest of the committee, the central committee that we just elected here. I'm excited. We're going to do some great things together. I want to thank all of the PCs out there that I've worked with. John Morgan has been just a great person I've worked with in the past, and Ellen Runge, who has helped show me the ropes here. So many of you that we've already worked together, and you know that I'm looking forward to doing that again. So I look forward to working and getting to know some of the newer folks here. I got to say something about my good friend Dick Marin there, who's helped point me in the right direction more than once. So I appreciate everyone here, and we're just looking forward to getting started. I would like to take a second to thank all those that put their name on the ballot and to be considered for our central committee. It's a great time to be a Democrat in Allen County. We've had so many people willing to stand up and to the challenge of running our organization. To my former opponent, Morrison, I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. We have been talking constantly throughout this entire process, and we have a lot of the same ideas. We may differ on how we get there, but I do have a tremendous amount of respect for him and Danny and what they work to do. Having said that, I have, Matt Morrison's got great ideas. He has got a lot of passion for democratic issues. He's willing to do the work. So I have asked him to be considered as a deputy chair for the organization. We will continue to move through that process and move on to the central committee on March 24th. So I sincerely hope that he stays involved, and I'm sure that he will, and I'm super excited about that. He's asked for 60 seconds to give a quick update. Is he not here?
He wanted to get me and Hannah Starbucks. And
Okay,
please.
Good man, folks. Having said before, again, we're excited to have the opportunities here that we have here in Allen County. Before I tell you what I see myself doing and the committee doing over the next 6 months, I'd like to talk to you about why I'm a Democrat. Most folks here know that I've got 20 years of organizing experience. But what most folks know is when I first started doing this many moons ago, I was politically unaware, environmentally unconcerned, and with regard to social issues, I thought we were referring to weekend plans. I was blessed to walk into a room full of people at Citizens Action Coalition that wanted to see me succeed. They met me where I was, and they walked me to where I needed to be to see that success. And for them, I am forever grateful. At the time, I was driven by anger. I was driven by the fact that I had to watch my mother demand fair wages on a picket line to cover a rental service. I was angry about the fact that my father was humiliated in having to sell the family car because he got laid off from his job once again. I was angry. I had a chip on my shoulder the size of a piano bench. I was pissed off at the world, and I didn't know who I was supposed to be pissed off at. So through that process, I was very lucky to meet those people, and I'm super excited. And again, I'll be forever grateful for that because they met me exactly where I was, and we have to do that. Lord knows that my line and this line for this work has not been as straight as an arrow. I have lost way more than I have ever won in the last 20 years. But that hasn't stopped me from getting up every single day in the name of social change. And I will continue to do that because being a Democrat to me is exceptionally personal. It is something that's about my mom who stood in that picket line. It's about her and the fact that those issues like Social Security and Medicare are literally what keeps her alive today. It's about my sister who just recently, Jack Morris was able to marry her and her long-term partner Heather, but she can still be
I
fired.
performed the ceremony, I didn't marry her.
She can still be fired because of who she chooses to love. It's about every single one of us It's about the issues that we care about. It's about affordable health care. It's about a quality, solid education for us all. So, there's a lot of work to be done. And I will meet every single one of you exactly where you are. But we have to walk forward together. We have to walk forward together. So this is where you might want to get your pen out if you're interested about what's going to happen in the future. As many folks saw on the paper, although it was successfully misquoted by the News and Sentinel, I do want to develop a 4-year strategic plan. I think that's necessary. Not one that's going to get us just through that 4 years, but one that's going to take us into the next 4 and beyond that. Throughout the month of March, I'll be talking with many of you. I'll be calling you to set up meetings and have one-on-one conversations to see where your vision of the party is, to help ask you to help, because I need that. At the end, I'm going to ask there be public input via a survey that we'll send out to folks in this room about where they see the party going. And then at the April breakfast, please plan on attending. We're going to talk about, Fed and I will talk about where we are as a party here locally, and we're going to ask for your input. We want positive, constructive input that will be considered into that strategic plan. There's nothing wrong with a good idea. There's everything right with a good idea. The only thing wrong with it is that it doesn't get followed through. So we're going to do our best to make that happen. We'll create clear action steps, clear timelines and budgets, and know exactly what we have to do to get those things accomplished. We're going to, at that time, after we've taken in public comment, constructive, positive public comment, I will add, we will bring our leadership team together and hold a leadership retreat, at which time we will put that document together and hopefully have a rough draft to talk about with our central committee and our central committee meeting in June. Not June, April, in May. Also, things that will be happening at the same time, a lot of this stuff is going to have to happen all at once, right? And I'm very aware of that. We will, at some point, depending, and again, folks, I need to sit down with the central committee here and work out this timeline, so there'll be dates and all those things moving forward. But I will be running a candidate boot camp at some point late May, early June, for all those interested in running. And after that, the following month, we'll be doing what I like to call a PC roundup. All those who are wishing to be considered to be precinct committeemen and vice committeemen will be given an opportunity to come here and through a process of application and information will be considered to be precinct committee folks. I don't know all the logistics in that either. Again, I have to sit down with folks and work that out. That's what I think. It's going to be busy for the next few summers, or not for the next few months into the summer. Hopefully by fall we'll have a good solid plan moving forward. And again, I need each and every one of you to step up and help. And so many of you have. I know it's been a long time coming, but we have an opportunity in Allen County that I'm sincerely excited about. And we have so many people that are willing to step up and help us make that change. I'm a coach, folks. I'm going to put you in the area that fits best, and we're gonna run it down the field, and that's what the plan is. Thank you very much for your time.
Introductions.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't do introductions. That will actually give us some good friends just walked in the room. Let's start up here, and we'll do our introductions as we have in the past traditionally. And let's start with
I'm Tony Lauderdale, Democrat member.
great.
Jamie Drake?
Jorge Fernandez.
Catherine Roddy.
Mary Pat Leonard.
Colleen Dion.
Ben Schott.
Janet Mitchell.
Greg Eckert. David Mitchell.
Vicky Colt.
Charles Cook.
Marlon Purdy.
Claire Moreno.
Jessica Galindo.
Catherine Martin.
Gary Moore.
Carla Woodright.
Jillian Price.
Peggy Gill.
John Morgan.
Lynn Tripoli.
Misty Meehan. Jamie Teller.
Rusty Anderson.
Erin Erb. Rose Crusoe, President of Indiana Democrat African American Caucus.
Tim Barber.
Jeff Hanna, 10th District City Council. 6th District City Council, Glen High.
Roger Miller.
Gary Shep.
Dick Mayer.
Randy Schmidt, Chair of the Indiana Democratic Senior Caucus.
Ron Wilkins.
Connie Wilkins.
Roger McNett.
Rachel McNabb.
Tim Frank.
Ganger.
James Hill. Rosa Guerra. Luann Longberry. Rita Bors, Treasurer of the Women's Caucus.
Liz Graham.
Paul McGrath, aging lefty.
Representative Chiaquinta, District 8. Kyle Miller.
Joel Crandall. Dakota Crandall.
Stephanie Crandall. Megan Butler.
Ryan Steer.
This would be not my child. Martha Crandall on loan from the Crandall. I'm Rachel Blakeman.
Mark Coleman.
Mary Fred Longstein.
Franz Rydell.
John Bartlett.
Dean McClure.
Rachel Kyle.
Roger Clayton.
Suzanne Runyon. Helen Runyon.
Andy Downs, resident of Phil's District.
Julian Diaz.
Emma Sanders, voter registration.
Craig Smith.
Jorge Ortiz.
Didn't recognize her. Jorge.
Condra River.
Michael Bank. Hi, Simmons Iron Garden Incorporated.
Nancy Hanson. Liz Scott. Nancy Screeden.
Laura Eggert.
Eric Sundberg.
Sherry Cooley. Julie Wiseman.
United Steelworkers jacket over there.
Brian Eller. My daughter, Fiona Schreiner. Michelle Chambers.
Weston Rumba, Leona member, and IDAC member.
Pedro Heredia.
John Core, president of the Dave Johnson Fan Club.
Dr. Irwin Township Assessor. I want to be in club. Sheila Curry Campbell. I am on the committee for May Johnson Fort Wayne Community School Trustee Board campaign. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Can you...
President of John Fort Fan Club.
There's only one. I'm a member of all those groups. Bruce Steer Township Board, Wayne Township Board.
Also, Tony Henry, Wayne Township,
Paul Knox.
Amy Anderson. My daughter Anna.
Jack Morris.
Sharon Tucker, 1st District, Allen County Councilwoman, past the chair and treasurer.
Why don't we go ahead and have parliamentarian Downs draw that number for us?
I don't trust them. What number do you have, John? What do you pull?
We collected $76, so 38 goes to the winner.
Really, really small number.
Let me,
Last three digits?
I'm
Last
not.
three digits?
I'm not.
775.
Tempted.
Last three digits, 775. John did not win.
Whoever, I'm trying to get some people. The thing is, whoever gets in there should run it in 2019. And I'm planning on running this for state rep in 2019. Or personal security.
Morrison's here.
Morrison's here. Okay.
I think you would. I think you would be great. You should run.
I'd like to one day. If I wasn't like, I mean, I'm having a
While
baby.
Morrison is preparing his start, let's run a I wanted to go ahead, it would be, I would be remiss if I didn't have all of these great Democrats in the room, and we invite you to participate in
But he
our
would have to
staff.
resign.
Our DAP is our opportunity that you would have to make a monthly contribution to the party. Whatever dollar amount you choose, you fill out the form, you submit it to me. We take that monthly from your account. We take as little as $5 and as much as unlimited amount that you want to provide monthly. So Allison is holding up the DAF form. It's very easy, it's very slick. You put it in there. All we ask is that you make sure that when we do the withdrawal that the money is there. We make it lickety split for you, and that's how we support ourselves throughout the year. That's the way that we set our budget, and anything that we get outside of the DAF is extra money that we get to utilize to do special events with. But we set our budget based on the monthly contributions by great Democrats like yourself by signing up for the DAF. And we would love it if everybody in this room that is not signed up would at least contribute a $10 contribution. It could go a long way because I think I counted at least a good 100, maybe 120 heads. And imagine how easy you guys would make it for me to balance the books each month and not have to make rob Peter to pay Paul by making a $10 contribution. Thank you.
We are not afraid to ask for what we need here. So there you go. Morrison again has asked for about 60 seconds to come up and talk about where our t-shirts are. Sharon, can I have the timer, please?
Maybe 90. Hey, buddy, how you doing? First off, just so everybody knows, for Record Store Day this year, Space Jam will be its title. So get your wallets ready. You need the Space Jam soundtrack. It's gonna be
All my life.
for those
Waiting.
of you that I've talked to over the past 6 or 7 weeks, I'm just so thankful for your time and just your insight. It's been really wonderful, and I just want to say I give my wholehearted, full-throated support to Mindy, and I'm just so thankful to have her in leadership here. To talk about T-shirts. So we did have the audacious goal of selling 100 T-shirts. We managed to sell 117, which was really great. We did have a couple challenges. One of them was actually finding a union distributor, somebody who could give us all the shirts that we wanted that were union made and U.S. made. We found one in No Sweat Apparel in Massachusetts. Really, really great people. And they have lots of different sizes and styles and colors, and they were really great to work with on the phone, and their pricing was about $4 or $5 cheaper than everywhere else that we were looking, which means more money for you. About 70% of the shirts are in the hands of our printer right now. Some of the larger male sizes in black were on back order. They'll be shipping this week. We did keep orders open for about 2 weeks. So if you're wondering, like, why don't I have my shirt yet? Keep in mind, when I had that paper that was floating around, that was like the initial mock-up that we had put up with like 2 days before. You know, so we didn't have screens done or anything like that. And it kind of takes a little bit of time. So, but we did keep orders open for 2 weeks. We have most of the shirts that are in the hand of our printer. I believe that those shirts, so all the women's sizes and the men's smaller sizes have shipped yesterday. We should see them Monday or Tuesday, and then it's a matter of me going through them and putting names to shirts and making sure that people get the right stuff that they ordered. So you should be hearing from us this week. The larger men's shirts we'll probably see the week after that, and so I'll be reaching out to those of you who ordered shirts and letting you know. If you haven't paid me yet, you can do so at any time. Don't feel like you have to do it today. I have a spreadsheet on my computer that shows me who's paid what and all that other good stuff. And so if you haven't paid up, not a big deal. I'll reach out to you and we can settle up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Morrison, for doing that.
All right. I don't want to put our representative on the spot, but if you have anything you'd like to share, Representative Giaquinto, we appreciate any updates on the city.
Sure. We just finished the first half, and I'll just mention a couple things. Obviously, our responsibility in the long session is to pass the budget, which we did. Unfortunately, we're still seeing less spending, less money for urban schools, which is very disappointing. Fort Wayne Community Schools, I think, had a first year cut of about 1.5%, and then the second year also a cut. So we're going to kind of press the Senate, and maybe the budget bill will change once it moves over to the Senate, but I continue to be disappointed there. Pre-K funding, you know, that we would like to obviously see pre-K move statewide, but again, it was still just an expanded pilot program. Unfortunately, in the Education Committee, they attached some more language with regards to pathway to more vouchers, which is very disappointing. The Senate doesn't have that, so I guess that will come out.
Senate has less money though.
But you know, we shall see. Also, a little disappointed there was a great turnout in hearing on redistricting reform. Unfortunately, they didn't call a vote on the bill. So at this point, we're not going to see anything, at least on the House side. But you know, you never know what happens on the Senate. So there's still a long way to go with these bills. Keep an eye on some of them as the Senate bills move to the House, including the net metering regarding solar panels. You may have seen some of that. And then, and where's Deb Marley? Deb is still here. We were talking about, there's an interesting Senate bill that has to do with these poles they're putting up, you know, that has to do with the 5G network stuff and more data and all those things that are needed. But they're currently, the folks that are putting these things up, they're cooperating with the city because they're kind of putting them right in the right of way, but we don't want them, you know, directly right in front of someone's house. We're going to keep an eye on the Senate bill, which basically would, again, circumvent local control and just allow them kind of put them anywhere they want. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go. But I will talk more about the first half of the session on March 18th at Glenn Hines' State of the 6th District address, which I'm sure he wants to talk about right now.
I will. I need the time. I'll run with it. Thank you for that plug. March 18th, which is 2 weeks from today, is the 18th for Glenn Hines, State of the 6th District. It's actually the 28th, because my predecessor, Cletus Edmonds, started this. And I stand here on the shoulders of Cletus, who started the community forum. He used to do it in February with snow. I moved it to March, and every now and then it still snows. But at Link's Wonderland, 9 a.m. is the free breakfast. It ends at 10, and then at 10 o'clock is the State of the 6th. So those early risers come have a free soul food breakfast, and then we'll start the State of the 6th. A couple of highlights. Where did you go to get that Starbucks? Washington. My point. On the southeast side of Fort Wayne, there's a lot of amenities that we just don't have. And we've got to keep that glaring flashlight in the eyes of those businesses. And we have a few that are coming, and I'll share that with you, but it's just so slow. And the mayor has now put together a task force. We had the 10-year Southeast Strategy Plan, which some of you were on, I think, May and a few others. We're doing the next 10 years. What is it? Done an excellent job in housing. An A. If you look at the housing stock that may help back with what's called the Synergy Project, you now know it as Renaissance Place. We're going to replicate that. Ms. Michelle Chambers, please stand, Michelle. Michelle is heading up an opportunity called, what is it called? Prosperity Heights, which is what?
Joshua, Ward Bay, affordable housing, and market rate housing in different phases, and wraparound services for the families that will be living there.
Yeah, that's on McKinney at the old Macmillan Park apartment site. It's fabulous. She shared with me. I think Prophet Walker will share in 2 Saturdays where they are. They're breaking ground this year. Yes. And there's a few other opportunities. So please, ma'am and sir, if you have time, 2 weeks from today, I know some of you will be down at the state for the state elections, but come in and hear an update from folks that are doing things in the Southeast, and maybe one day we'll have a Starbucks. And next, the great councilman from the 5th District, Jeff Paddock.
You said the wrong date is March 18th.
I said 2 weeks from today.
Oh, I thought you said the 25th.
I said 2 weeks from today.
Okay, March 18th.
2 weeks from today.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Congratulations. It was great to have you in my position. Thank you to my friend, Phil, great job with the update. Thank you to my friend, Glenn Hines. Let me say, it's just a little bit lonely on the city council at times, but it's great to have Glenn. He is really a rock of Gibraltar, and after 5 years, every meeting I kind of learn something new from him. So it's wonderful, and look forward to your event here in a couple weeks, Glenn. I know we're working hard, and we need some more Democrats on city council. Somebody asked me today, they said, Jeff, I understand you may not run again. I said, no, I'm announcing today that I'm running again in 2 years. I want another term. I've got a lot of things I'm working on, and we've got to get some more Democrats in 2019. 2018 is next.
2018 and 2019. Yeah.
Everything I know, it looks like Tom Henry may give it another go. We at least hope so. He's a great mayor. He's done a lot of wonderful things for Fort Wayne, and we're trying to work with him. We're also trying to, I think, try to get a little bit more of a coalition with some Republicans that can lean our way a little bit, and there are a couple of them that we can work with, but we definitely need more Democrats. I'm very pleased with the direction the mayor has taken the city. I mean, Tom Henry's a great mayor. He's got a vision for making this a really, love those cell phones. He's leading us in a great direction, and as you know, the city is getting recognized for a lot of great things that we're doing. But one of the things that I am concentrating on, and I know Glenn is too, is to make sure that we get some of these things into the neighborhoods. Downtown is wonderful, riverfront development, some of the great initiatives that the mayor is working on. We also want to make sure we don't neglect our neighborhoods. And I'm very pleased, Glenn and I worked with Tom Henry, and thankfully a bipartisan group of some Republicans who we can work with to put a budget together that puts $25 million into neighborhood infrastructure improvements, again in 2017. I want to keep that going. You know, I think Win Moses said when he was mayor, they spent about $1 million. I think just before I took office, we were spending about $5 million. Now $25 million, and we want to continue that momentum. Streets, resurfacing sidewalks, and curbs, and street lights, and the infrastructure that we need. And that doesn't include what we're doing with city utilities, with repairing, replacing sewer lines, and making sure that we have clean water, and we're taking care of the waste so we don't dump it into the rivers. We are continuing to move forward on that. A couple of things real quickly that I'm really proud of. Fred Lanahan is here. As you may know, he and I have worked on the passenger rail issue for many years. I've been on it for about 18 years. And with dogged determination, we'll keep moving forward. And we did get good news in December that we have received permission to do an environmental impact study from the Indiana Department of Transportation and the Federal Railroad Administration, which means that this could take flight with the proper results coming from that environmental study, which should be coming this year. Secondly, I have been working also for the last several years, and many of you worked with me, on trying to get attention to the old General Electric campus. I am so tickled that the mayor, Greater Fort Wayne, a lot of folks out there have worked with me on a package that I think you'll see coming forward with more detail in the future. But it looks as though we're going to zero in on that 1 acres, 12 buildings. GE buildings. GE buildings, Tony. All right, you were there with us. Yeah. And we're going to make sure that we really turn that into something wonderful that will help the neighborhoods that surround that campus. So those are the kind of projects that I'm looking at. We're working on the 800 block of West Fruitville. I don't know if you heard about that, but a couple of years ago there was a plan that came forward to try to renovate those buildings. Unfortunately, it involved a change of zoning that was very controversial, and I did not support it. But we're trying another way, and I think you'll see some suggestions coming forward that I hope we can work on to do something there as well. So lots of neat things going on, lots of good public-private partnerships that I think we're seeing the city really on a roll now. That's what I want to keep doing, and that's why I want another term as your council.
He's ready.
Is there any other elected that would like to say anything?
County. You gotta hear from the county.
Councilwoman Thompson?
Jeff said that he's lonely. He said the two of them were lonely. Yeah. Come sit with me, please. Yeah. Please, I'm the only Democrat there, so imagine how much fun I get to have. One of the things I'm most proud of, though, this past 2 weeks, is that we were finally able, worked behind the scene, made all kind of phone calls, begged and pleaded that my council cohort would please pass a budget that would approve an increase for county employees so they could be paid to fair mid-wage, and that did succeed. So I am extremely proud and extremely glad, because that means more money for people that will be able to go home and take care of their families. And I always think that everyone should earn a living wage, and when the county has a $6 million surplus that's not earmarked to anything, I don't see a reason why we can't make sure that we take care of our people. So I'm glad that we were able to pass that. There are a couple of things that are coming on. There's so much development going on in the city. Sometimes we forget about the development that's going on in the county, and we have a couple of things that are going on the southeast side of the county. So we have an intermodal that was just approved, and they should be breaking ground, which is right down the street from my house, which is at Paulding and Adams Center Road, which will be a great location, more jobs. We have XPO and we have Walmart that's coming in on the south side, more jobs. I think over the last year, we have bought in and approved abatements for companies that will be bringing somewhere roughly about 500 jobs in our community. And one of the things that I ask is, are you bringing your own people? And if they say yes, then I say no to the abatement, because I'm looking for jobs that will be for the people in our community. And the other question that I always ask is, what's the income rate? What are you going to pay? Because I'm not in favor of continuing people to be working poor, so I want to make sure that we are paying livable wages, and if they meet those two qualifications for me, then they can always get my vote on an abatement for tax phase-in. If they don't meet that, then I'm not afraid to be the only one that will say no, and I have stood and said no many of times, and I'm okay with it, and I always make it a party line vote, and anytime a party line vote, I say roll call please, so that they can surely see how the votes are turning. So don't forget us in the county. I'm still fighting hard to make sure that we bring development on our side. I always say that to redevelopment. We'll take good jobs, we'll take good construction, we'll take good developments on the southeast quadrant of Allen County, and with your support, we'll keep pushing and fighting for those to come true. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
One more Democrat elected, I think, in the room.
Two more.
I'm sorry.
You might have been. I'm the assessor, I will never have. We are trending, we're getting ready to roll to, or we have rolled to the state. This is your 2016 sales, which creates your 17 value, which is your taxes in 18. So, we're going to get into Form 11s. Let me warn you right now, countywide, real estate's gone through the roof. So expect the Form 11, your investment is secure. That's about all we got going on.
That's good.
Bruce Steer, Chairman of the Wayne Township Board. We have 3 good Democrats on that board, including myself. Tony Henry is here today. Pat Turner. Is Pat? Pat, are you here? Pat usually shows up, couldn't make the name. And of course, our great trustee, Richard Stevenson. And we've lived through the last 8 to 10 years, some of the roughest economic times, and yet the township government has done its job. We've cut back where we needed to so that we can provide adequate assistance to poor families within Wayne Township who need our help. Some people don't understand sometimes what we do. We don't hand money out to people. We provide the pharmacist who gives children needed medications. We pay him. We pay the landlord at a much reduced rate who provides a home for people. We pay the utility companies at a reduced rate for providing warmth to families during the winter time. So that's our role, that's our job, and we have to do it within budget. And one of the reasons why the county has some surpluses is because we do such a good job at it that sometimes we're returning money to the county. So township government's the only, Wayne Township's the only, I think, body of government within our Allen County is completely controlled by the Democrats. We have our assessor, as you know, but we're the most effective in terms of how we manage our resources and then return those sources back to the voters at large. Thank you.
Okay, Allison? First of all, let me thank Allison. She's our office manager. She does a lot of good work here. And I'm about to ask her to do something for me. I know there's a lot of people in the room today that want to set up a conversation with me or have a conversation with me. If you could please give your name and contact information and what you want to talk about to Allison as you walk out the door today. She will let me know, and I'm going to start scheduling meetings next week. If there's not anybody else that would like an opportunity to say hi, Randy?
Yeah, I have an announcement. One of several hats that I wear is I'm a member of the board of the A. Philip Randolph Institute. And as many of you in the room know, if you've served on not-for-profit boards, they expect you to assist with fundraising for that organization. And I passed out some flyers earlier at the caucus at 8 o'clock. Our annual scholarship banquet is coming up on April 8th. It's $35 a seat. I'm expected to sell at least one table. So if you would like to go to that event, please contact me. The information is on the flyer. For those of you who aren't familiar with the organization, the A. Philip Randolph Institute is one of the longest standing organizations of its type. They've had a chapter since 1967 here in Fort Wayne. Philip Randolph was actually the organizer of the 1963 March on Washington. A lot of people think, oh, well, wasn't that Martin Luther King? No, Martin Luther King delivered the keynote address. It was A. Philip Randolph that organized the event. He was both a civil rights activist and a labor leader. He organized and was the first president of the Porters Union for the railroad. And if you think it's tough, for those of you like me, if you're involved in organized labor, if you think it's tough to organize today, imagine being someone of African American heritage trying to organize folks in the railroad, other African Americans in the Porters back in those days. He's not with us anymore, and they formed this institute in 1967 in his name. And the local chapter, every year since then, has tried to do a scholarship banquet where we raise money and give it to kids, scholarships, right? And it is also named for, the scholarship is also named for Charles Redd. And most of you remember Charles. He was a member of the Fort Wayne City Council for years and years and years. So please, attend that event, and if you contact me and purchase some tickets for me, that would be wonderful. That's on April 8th, Saturday at Lynx Wonderland. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Just one more note, and I'll let you go. Next Saturday, Thad and I will be going to Wells County to elect our Democratic leadership at the district level. And I believe Councilman Paddock actually mentioned that the statewide reorganization is in on March the 17th. I'm sorry, March 18th. I will not be attending that. I will be at Wings-Land with Councilman Hines. All right. We appreciate. I'm sorry, Sheila. Go ahead.
Announcement. Silver Mountain Church is doing Promise Weekend. It's a college and career fair on March the 25th and 26th. Saturday, March the 25th from 10 to 2, we have free vendor space. If there's anyone here from labor that would like to have a booth, it is free. You can see myself or either Greg Head.
Thank you. With that. Oh wait, one more. Okay, one more, and then
announcement. Next Saturday, the 11th, 3 to 5. A lot of people mentioned they had an interest in healthcare. We're having the documentary Fix It and a panel of people to talk about healthcare issues. And it's a come to go, and I'll send information to Vicki so she can forward it to everybody else.
Awesome, thank you, Mary Pat. All right, last call. Any more announcements? Yes.
March 8th is International Women's Day. They're also asking that we all wear red, call off work, or, International Women's Day.
Yeah, I took a vacation.
Awesome, thank you very much. And
Can support.
Chairman Court.
Just one last round of applause and thank you to Jack Morris.
Also, too, Sydney Henry had a knee injury today. That's why her and the mayor are not here with us. So keep her in your thoughts as she recovers.
She had a while.
Aww. Okay. All right, thanks, folks. We appreciate you. Thanks for coming. Nancy Allen and
Awesome.